Alright, I've drawn this out long enough. Let's get into the nitty gritty of the law. Oh, man. Feels like I've been screaming for at least a year. Oh no. I'm Dax Harwood if he let himself go. Last time on the Batman Arkham Retrospective, I did a review on the first game, but ended it prematurely due to burnout as I was trying to get that video out and it took, what, 6-7 months? I don't know. So for this part, I'm electing to do a part 2 to that video where I look at the story of the game, Batman Arkham Asylum. I'm only doing it this way just this once, and every part of the retrospective after this will include the story or I will eat my own teeth. You do not need to watch that video first, as anything I discuss there that'll fit whatever I talk about in this video will be brought up, most notably about the Chronicles of Arkham. Alright, let's get started. Batman manages to catch Joker and bring him to Arkham Asylum, with Batman thinking that something's up, so he tags along because Joker is about as trustworthy as a guy who thinks ChatGPT is reliable.
What? Don't you trust me?
Did I fucking stutter? Joker proves him right and manages to set up a hostile takeover almost immediately, and Batman, of course, has to stop him. We also shortly encounter this NPC I really like named Gretchen Whistler, one of those things, who I think is a really underrated character. Basically, she comes off as someone who actually does want to help the inmates and is able to understand Victor Zsasz' obsessive need for what he calls the mark, which is basically cutting himself to add a tally of how many murders he's done, and thus is able to deduce where he went after he had escaped after failing to off one of the doctors to apply said mark to him. I hope she survived for the rest of the series. The warden, Quincy Sharp, is also kidnapped by Harley Quinn, and while searching for him, we manage to find Joker only for him to have played God. Gross. Unfortunately for him, his heart gives out because he drinks too much Mountain Dew and Joker escapes. Right after, Commissioner Gordon also gets kidnapped thanks to a mole in Frank Bowles, aka Officer Bowles, that was working for Joker. So we gotta follow his trail via the alcohol vapor, which worked wonders for finding my dad a lot. God damn it. Now, why would he go and get himself killed? Is he stupid? Riddler also announces his presence at this point, and I gotta be honest, I'd have let him go, as all he actually is doing this time is just telling him to solve his riddles. Let him have this win, man.
I'm losing patience. You're cheating.
Or you could dox him. That... Yeah, no, I can't condone that even as a joke. What the fuck, man? Slowly but surely, we find out what Joker's end goal is. When we manage to rescue Gordon, we find Bane strapped up and drained of his venom, with him blaming one Dr. Penelope Young for it, who we rescued earlier in the game. And after doing some research along with us listening to the interview tapes Young had with Joker that you collect across the island, Oracle finds out that Joker has been secretly funding something called the Titan Project, which Dr. Young thought was being made to help cure the inmates of their mania, though I admittedly don't know what made her think that, as she was using Bane's venom that he uses to get big and strong as the basis of it. Young eventually found out and blocked the funding herself, which prompted Joker to get himself caught and sent to Arkham Asylum so he could get the formula back and make Titan himself so that he can use it to turn his goons into mutant monsters of men to take over Gotham. During all of this, Dr. Young is sadly killed and Bane is rammed off the island, which I'm only mentioning so I can do this. When we finally find and rescue Warden Sharp, Harley lets out Poison Ivy and Joker lets out the really insane inmates, which I hate dealing with because if you don't counter properly... Yeah, I hate these guys. We end up looking into an antidote, which we learn from Ivy, who at first wants to help us out as the plants in the area seem to be suffering, only for Ivy to embrace the Titan as it strengthens the plants, but that's not till later, because we have to infiltrate Killer Croc's lair to get the spores needed for the antidote. Also, Scarecrow's here. Hi, Scarecrow! Bye, Scarecrow. I'm sure he's fine. We managed to successfully get the spores and make the antidote, but have to take out Ivy, who got too strong. Now, at long last, we have to stop Joker. There are, however, a few quick detours I must make real quick. I felt these were worth mentioning, but I couldn't figure out where else to fit them in this video. First off, a guy named Luke Oliver is listed on a party list during a boss fight with Harley Quinn. Well, more like a boss fight against a bunch of goons. She doesn't actually do any fighting herself. Now, who is Luke Oliver? A random NPC who's locked in a cell near where Sharp was held, wearing a mask that looks a lot like me when I had hair and a goatee, actually. This is very upsetting. Is he my real dad? Turns out that Luke is a guy who won a contest to be put in the game as an NPC, hence this weird fuck. So congratulations, Luke Oliver, on becoming immortal, kind of. Secondly, the Chronicles of Arkham. I mentioned this in the first part of this retrospective about how they were detailing the story of Amadeus Arkham and his descent into madness, but for some reason keeps going after his fall happened and even describes modern-day villains such as Killer Croc and Joker, even though they showed up long after his passing. When you find the last one, it shows a shadow on the marking that each Chronicle has, but you don't find the actual last one until you find all the others, and I think all the Riddler challenges has been too long to say. You find it in the room where Sharp was hiding in, it being scratched in writing of the name Batman over and over, which then reveals that Quincy Sharp was the spirit of Amadeus Arkham. Kinda. He himself is clearly suffering from some kind of mental illness as he believes himself to be quote-unquote chosen, i.e. possessed by said spirit, which led him to committing crimes and atrocities onto the inmates, most of which I'm pretty sure is murder, and attempting, and failing, to do so to the likes of the aforementioned villains. The third and final thing is something that I had usually avoided till maybe 1 or 2 playthroughs ago, and made an effort to frequently do so I could showcase it. The Visitor Center. This part of the game is only done in first person, which adds heavily to how uncomfortable the place looks and is, with the only encounter you have each time you enter it being with some kind of Joker mannequin with a TV in place of his head, as Joker pops up on the TV, taunting you each time. Hell, at one point there are even 5 of these mannequins at a time to really mess with- wait, where'd the 5th one go? What the fuck? It turns out the center was the base of operations for Joker, and after injecting Batman with Titan but failing to get him to turn, he declares to have nothing to live for and shoots himself in the chin with it.
Arkham Asylum remains under lockdown, its staff at the mercy of the rampaging inmates. Just 10 minutes ago, we received this taped message.
Greetings, Gotham! Joker here! Arkham is mine! Soon I'll unleash madness untold onto the streets of Gotham. But first, direct your eyes to the rooftops and witness the final destruction of your dear Dark Knight.
We've been circling the tower since the... Wait! There! Joker is making his move!
Showtime, Batman!
Yeah, I don't mind this. I don't really get all the hate this boss specifically gets. Aside from most of it being just fighting a bunch of goons, but other than that, I don't understand the hate for it. Yet, much like what I said in the first video about Joker commanding an army of monsters not feeling like something Joker would do, yeah, that was mostly a troll move to mock those that were legitimately upset by this. Isn't my acting just the best? I should get 7 Oscars for that performance. Close enough. In my honest opinion though, Joker himself states that he has nothing to live for if he can't convert Batman, and that injection he gave himself is clearly a last resort for him to finally win, right down to having an electric chair already prepped for Gordon. Even then, it's an adaptation of the Batman lore. It isn't gonna make every other iteration of Joker look like garbage because of it. Hell, if he survived Jared Leto, he'll survive this. Too bad the game decided to skip the big reveal cutscene! I swear, these bugs have been in this port for years, man! Anyway, Batman uses the antidote on himself to stop him from turning, manages to take down Joker in the most badass way possible by putting explosive gel on his fist and punching him with said fist, and once everything is under control again, he heads off to stop a bank heist by Two-Face. The day is saved at long last. I really wish I got this done sooner, but at least I finally did, so next time on the Batman Arkham Retrospective will be, for real this time, Arkham City. It makes sense to do it this way. It's not like I can talk about Arkham Asylum and then have the next part of the retrospective be on, I don't know, Cars 2 or some shit. Oh, speaking of, Disney, if you heard what I just said, don't.